What is money? You must be wondering, what is this question even? It's a medium of exchange, right? That's what it is, no big deal. Well, it is a big deal. But today's episode of Explain Like I'm 10, I would like to start with a little story to just make it more impactful. It's Tuesday, November 8th, 2016. A man appears on television across India and makes a stunning announcement. He said, the 500 and 1000 rupee notes that you have, the money in your pocket, are going to be worthless from midnight today. You can't buy shit with it. Okay. Peace out. So I might be paraphrasing a little, but you get the idea. Then there was chaos, right? Confusion. People looked at their own money and they were like, "What? I can't buy anything with this. This is worthless. How does that even work?" There were huge lines at the ATMs to withdraw money because people thought new money would come out, but no, old money kept coming out, and they were like, "Ab iska kya karenge?" Even the banks had no clue that this was about to happen. So the moral of this story is what people of India realized that day was all it takes for their money to become absolutely worthless is for one man to come on TV and tell them that it is. So I ask again, what is money? And to answer this very profound philosophical question today, we have my co-host, my fellow host on the IVM network, Anupam Gupta. He is the host of Paisa Vaisa podcast, and he's also an author of the book The Wisest Owl. Be your own financial planner. Hello, Anupam.
Hi, hi, Meghnad. Thanks for having me here and thanks for giving me such a generous, warm welcome. I don't get that very often these days, but thank you so much.
Do you like this topic, Anupam?
It's okay. I would rather be talking about money. Sorry, about movies and more glamorous stuff and all that.
Ah,
But ठीक है यार, whatever. Chalo, let's just roll. I'm just rolling with it here. I'm
Okay,
here
we
for the
gotta get
ride.
you on my show. We gotta get you on my show, Anupam. Talk about movies.
Yeah.
speaking of the show, our
Yes.
union leader of spectators today is
Namaste.
Union
Antariksh
leader or
Takkar.
spectators?
Yeah,
Yes.
union leader of spectators. That's the
My
official
God.
title that Antariksh gets.
Yes. Leader
Uh,
of the Spectator Union. Yes. Very
yeah,
much
Oh
so.
boy.
Great.
he's like a YouTube comment in human form. So
That's exact. That's very aptly put. That's very aptly
I
put.
have, it's good to be here with Antariksh because I think last when we were together was probably in a Cyrus show. I don't know, but he
Yes.
also goes under the name Silvery for some reason. I have no idea why, but
yeah,
no problem. Let's just,
That's a Cyrus S thing. Yes.
that's a
Tune
Cyrus
into
says
Cyrus
thing.
S to find out, guys. I don't know.
खुद का
so what
show
do we call
promote
him?
कर.
Yeah.
What do we call
And
him?
tune
Where
into just a filmy
we
game show where I'm not called Silvery. If you want to see me called Antariksh in other places. All right.
someone please listen to my podcast also. It's called
Yeah,
Paisa Vaisa, and like the title itself, it's very cheap.
Yes.
yeah.
We never really graduated to Rupaya or something, but yeah, there you go. Thanks, guys.
All right.
So Antariksh is
Yes.
also my colleague. He works with the Creative Solution team. He's the host of Just a Filmy Game Show, India's first and only audio game show. So it is technically India's biggest audio game show.
सब
So
फ्रॉड है वो
Yeah.
मैंने एक सवाल
congrats,
पूछा मैंने
Antariksh.
से एक सवाल पूछा उसको वो
Yes.
भी नहीं पता था उसको so let's
You
just leave
you asked like who is
leave me
this daughter's name in some other this movie with Amitabh's daughter.
wow
So what do you ask? I don't even
wow
know.
wow
Yeah,
look
I
at
was like,
that
how am I supposed to know that?
I
How am I
like how
supposed
you
to know
just
that?
basically wrote it off out there. Meghnad, have you seen Mr. India have you seen Mr. India?
I have seen Mr. India,
What's the name of the small kid
the
who
Anil Kapoor wala, right?
yeah, the small
Yeah.
Yeah,
kid who blows up. I mean, I shouldn't be saying blow up, but you know what I mean.
मतलब spoiler सीधा. They
हाँ,
can't even spoiler.
yeah, I think there's a rule on spoilers. I think there's a 20-year rul on spoilers. Here, I think we're at
20
70 or
Correct.
80 years.
years.
Yeah.
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 So do you know what's her screen name? Let me not go into a real name, but do you
Wasn't
remember?
it Kareena Kapoor?
My God, there he goes. Okay, close enough. But no, it was Tina.
Uh,
So yeah. Anyway,
Ah,
I hope I
oh,
hope
oh,
I
you
hope
mean the screen name? Tina. I know Tina. I was
yeah,
thinking
yeah.
the real name.
She
but
was
the actress was
definitely not.
Kareena
Some
Kapoor.
actress.
She was definitely not Kareena Kapoor.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It
saying, bro.
was a
What are you
Parsi
saying?
girl, lady. Of course, now she is something with H and K. Sorry, I forgotten the full name, but she didn't do
Right.
movies after that. But that was a
Oh.
very unforgettable role.
So explain like
Mhm.
I'm 10, in Mr. India. No, this is explain like I'm 10. What is money?
Yeah.
Um, the thing why I invited you also, Anupam, I've been wanting to do this episode for a while, and I had already suggested your name as the guest because this is a very innocuous sort of sounding question, but what demonetization sort of taught me, or it just struck me in my head like a truck, was that it doesn't matter. I mean, like, the money that is in my hand is literally so dependent on so many external factors, including the whims of a man who people seem to trust. So I thought that it would be worth exploring, like, what is money in this modern day era, etc. Right? So
Yeah.
but my first question would be to Antariksh.
Yeah.
Antariksh, what is your relationship with money?
Mine is a very bad relationship with money because I have very little of it. Right now, if I were to open my account, there is in two of my bank accounts there is less than 2K each. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm
High
like
five.
the
Let's do
end
a
of
high
my
five.
2022, guys.
भाई मेरे को तो मेरा पॉडकास्ट फ्री है अभी सब्सक्रिप्शन
अच्छा।
चालू किया पता नहीं उसमें से कुछ बना तो बना आई थिंक दैट्स व्हाई पैसा वैसा बट या आई
Yeah.
हियर यू ब्रदर लेट्स डू हाई फाइव आउट
Yes,
हियर या
exactly. Yes, absolutely. But otherwise, like, I always think I am way past the due date of becoming financially literate.
Hmm.
In the sense, like, I don't understand how investments work. I don't really understand how taxes work. So I'm
Okay.
like the worst person probably that you could have had, Meghnad, to talk about money. But
No,
maybe
but
that's why Anupam is there, and I can ask the dumb
yeah,
questions to
yeah.
Anupam, and he will
But
answer
when
them.
I say money, when I asked you relation, this is very interesting as well, because when I said money, immediately the thing that came to your head is your bank account balance,
That's true.
your
That is true.
investments,
Yes.
and taxes,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Why
So
though? Like, I mean, is that like
I
a
don't know.
reaction thing?
Just things you don't have, you feel like you should. So
Yeah,
that's why.
makes sense. Anupam, same question to you. What is your relationship with money?
very conflicted here. I left my full-time job 10 years ago. Like next year will be
Hmm.
10 years since I actually
Wow.
sat in an office, drew a salary for so when the entire world was doing work from home, I was like, yeah, I've been doing it for 10 years. मेरे को तो कुछ ज़्यादा, it's no big deal. But people thought
Hmm.
it's a big deal. But
Hmm.
yeah, no. So I let go of a salary back in 2012, not 2020, early 2013. So my relationship with money has been, I think, conflicted is an appropriate word, because not having a regular income at all, like, and when I
Hmm.
say regular income, I mean people kind of do not understand what a regular income means. A regular income means that at the end of every month, no matter what, boom, 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 there will
Hmm.
be a
Hmm.
certain amount
Mm.
coming into your bank account, come what may. Okay, of course, I do
Hmm.
know that some people do not pay salaries, but I'm saying for the vast majority of people who are on a salary job or who have a fairly established business income, there
Hmm.
is a recurring amount of money that comes in each and every day. Okay, and that's, I
Sure.
believe that's stuff that people don't really give a lot of credence, a lot of
Hmm.
importance to, because they just feel aata hai to aata hai, let's do whatever.
Hmm.
So
Mm.
my,
Hmm.
not having that has fundamentally changed the way that I live my life. Like when I look at my
Hmm.
pre-salaried, when I used to be salaried and when I'm not salaried, it just brings a very, very different way of looking at everything. For
Mm.
stuff that others who have a salary would take really for granted, like you go to a store, you just buy a coffee and boom, that's it. For me, it's like, okay, I have a monthly number, I cannot go above that. I can't go beyond that. I've got a 10% variation on that. So it's a very different thing. Vacations have to be
Hmm.
planned much more in advance, or and I have a family, I've got a wife, got a kid,
Hmm.
so everything has to be, nothing can be impulsive. Okay.
Hmm.
And
True.
at best, a vada pav can be impulsive, but look at the price. Vada pav abhi sala 15 रुपए का हो गया है. I had to have, मैं इडली के लिए गया यार. Antariksh, do you even know this? I went to the
Yeah.
neighborhood Shiv Sagar,
Oh no.
94 rupees.
Oh
And I was like,
man.
hey, yaar,
What?
ek idli. Yeah, yeah, 94
Yeah,
rupees for
yeah.
2 idli. I was like,
Italy, it's normal. It's quite normal now.
one
Yeah.
plate idli. I was like, एक इडली वापस ले लो यार, मेरे को पैसा मेरा खर्च हो गया अभी. But yeah, that's which is why I'm saying conflicted, because in the 10 years I haven't been able to put up something that's even remotely close to the last salary that I drew. Okay, and my
Hmm.
income is very,
Hmm.
very, very, very sporadic. Okay, podcast,
Hmm.
as there are
Yeah.
times when there is sponsor money, there is time when there is no sponsor money. So
No
when
sponsor
it's
money.
there, it's there. And that's the thing that I see in a lot of consultants and freelancers. They grapple with that idea of living months and months without any income at all. Okay, and then
Yeah.
you
Hmm.
have income for a couple of months, and I always tell them that, listen guys, when you have that couple of income for a month, please just shove that away. Just just put
Hmm.
it somewhere safe, like really, really safe.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
assume that you're not going to get
And
more
assume you're
for
not
like the next few months. Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
build that nest egg. It's just that, if people are wondering, then how do I manage? Well, I I'm 50 years old. So when I left
Hmm.
everything, I was like 40. I did not retire, by the way. So
Hmm.
my previous life and all, there's investment, there's a lot of stuff. So that gives me some, a basic level of income that I can manage with. So which is why I'm saying it's conflicted.
Interesting.
I have not been
Hmm.
able to recreate that entire monthly regular income so far. Hopefully I
But
will. Let's see how it goes.
you're in a comfortable place right now. As in, essentially, you have adopted this mindset sort of a thing that
Yeah.
variation
I'm
hoga, and
you
I'm
I
okay
think
with it, sort of a thing.
one thing that life has taught me in the last 10 years is not to be very attached to a certain thing. Like a lot of people say that
Hmm.
once they leave their jobs and they set up their own firms, they're like, I can never go back to a job. I can't take authority. I can't do this. I can't do that. And I was like, yeah, come on, yeah. It's just
Hmm.
one life. There is peace in adapting.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
if someone comes up and says that, do you want a job? I'd say, why not? Yeah? I wouldn't mind going back to a
Hmm.
job if the profile interests me. Okay. I'm
Hmm.
having
Hmm.
tremendous fun what I'm doing. I'm doing what I love. I'm writing my second book and I'm
Hmm.
working
Wow.
on podcasts. Okay. And podcast
Hmm.
is Pesa is something that I'm just, insanely passionate about. There's
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
Last Brand Standing, a show that
Yep.
we did the first season, and I was just blown. Like, people, boss, I get messages now on my Insta DMs,
Hmm.
someone pinged, where is season 2, where is season 3, where is season 4? And I was like, yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah.
relax, yeah, we're working on it. So, so there's doing that, Vichala, but both of you guys are in podcasts. You know that
Yeah.
the medium is still, the monetization idea is still, probably the
Yeah.
industry is still getting used to it. So that's part one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Part two is book.
evolving. I mean,
It's
people
evolving,
are
yeah. I
interested,
mean,
but of course, there is a lot to do there. Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah, and we'll figure it out. I'm pretty sure,
Hmm.
because in countries like US and China, this is a massive market in billions of dollars. So, we'll
Yeah.
figure
Yeah.
it out. We'll get there. And all three of us, of course, will be millionaires at some point of time very soon, and we'll do a
Hopefully,
show
Of
yes.
course.
there at,
Absolutely.
at
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
point
Correct.
of time. Okay, so that's part
Antariksh ke
one.
do
That's podcast.
account will be Antariksh ke do
Yeah.
account will be overflowing.
Yeah.
So
3,000 finally. That would be great.
Yeah, and then there's books. Books, of course, is a
Yes.
totally
yeah,
different ballgame. I'm writing my second book now.
yeah,
So which
yeah.
is why, so that's my a very, very long answer to your simple question of
Hmm.
what's my relationship with money. It's conflicted, definitely. It's
It's
not stable
conflict.
at
Hmm.
all, I would say. Yeah.
What about you,
You know,
Meghnad? What
I
is your relationship with money?
Yeah, so the best thing I've done, actually, I would agree with Anupam. The best thing I've ever done is to quit without having a job. So when
Hmm.
actually I got fired, so but anyway, so I
Oh, that's
consider
rough.
it
That's
that
rough. I hear you. I kind of remember that
yeah,
day back in 2013 when I just got a call saying that said boom, 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 and I was like, really?
yeah.
Anyway, go on, please. Sorry.
Oh.
It was a mutual sort of a thing. Basically, what happened was I broke this giant story while I was working with a member of parliament. It was on the electoral bonds, which we will also talk about, but it was on the electoral bonds and some story which went viral after that, finance bill pay. And then my boss was like, listen, the people in parliament are asking कि तुम्हारा office कर क्या रहा है? So either you work with me or you do journalism. You can't do both at the same time anymore. So then I had to quit that job, so my stable
Wow.
income was gone. And then I was like, acha fine, ab journalism karna hai. So I just started calling people I know, and I was like, acha please freelance karte hain, whatever 5,000 2,000 jo bhi dete ho de do abhi ke liye. I think that was the best phase of my life in a way, because it changed the relationship I had with money drastically.
Hmm.
What Anupam said, exactly that mindset came into my head. For the first few months, I was like, अरे पैसा आ रहा है खर्च करो, पैसा आ रहा है खर्च करो. Then I was like, shit, अब ये महीने में कोई पैसा नहीं आ रहा है. या फिर like the freelance payments are like 3 months off or whatever. Then I had to like think कि अच्छा जो भी आ रहा है पहले save करो. It actually put me in this saving mode for the first time in my life. Um, because before that, I had an extremely unhealthy relationship with money, where I sucked at saving. I had very little money in my bank. High five, Antariksh. And I mean, now I'm at a place where I'm a little comfortable, but I also realize that it can go away at any given point of time for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like, पता नहीं, like the bank essentially, मेरे तो नंबर लिखे हैं ना वहां पे, कोई घपला भी कर देगा बैंक में, या फिर बैंक डूब जाएगा कभी ना कभी, तो चला जाएगा पैसा, फिर क्या करेंगे, आई डोंट नो.
Yeah.
It's just that up in the air. So I would say it's a healthy relationship, I would say.
Can I please ask, like, for both of you? I know Anupam is
Um,
married and he has children also. Meghnad, you're married.
yeah.
How does okay, one
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 child.
one child.
Hmm.
But how does your relationship change with money after marriage or when you're thinking about marriage? Because I'm at 30 and I know
Hmm.
I will get married sometime soon, hopefully. So I'm also like, it's very scary just because of the money aspect. Getting married,
Yeah, yeah,
what happens after that?
Should I go first?
Yes,
yeah.
please.
Go on, Anupam.
Yeah, yeah. So Antariksh is a simple thing. You need to have, complete transparency and a very healthy conversation with your spouse, your partner about money.
Mm,
There is no other way on God's sweet planet that you ever, 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 ever do not talk about money with your wife or your,
Hmm.
whoever it is that you go on to, your partner, whoever it is. It's a very integral part of your relationship. Now, how you talk about it is honestly that's going to be dependent on person to person. But honestly, if my wife didn't see that I do not have a job suddenly, then she would not adapt to that kind of, because we're living our life together in the same house. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
yeah.
so it's a very different scene when you're married and when you have a, and say when you're carrying on or when you're not in a formal relationship, when you're kind of on and off and on. But if you're committed to staying together for a reasonably long period of time, then please have a transparent relationship about transparent communication about money, and please be very clear about the simple basic financial products that you need to be invested
Hmm.
in no matter what. Okay, come
Yeah.
what may, you need to have PPF. Come what may, you need to have your insurance in place. In
Hmm.
those
Hmm.
two things, I get so many questions from people, which SIP, which, and I asked them, भाई साहब,
Yeah.
hello, do you even have a PPF? नहीं, वो क्या होता है? मेरे company के पास है. I was like, that's a company PPF. You got to have your own. And what about insurance? Yeah, oh, my company's taking care of that. You need to have your own health insurance. So
Hmm.
Mm,
it totally, I mean, this you would do even if you're single. But when you do it with another person and both of y'all are responsible for each other's lives in a certain way,
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
please talk about it and get the, and don't ever
absolutely.
think, that there's stigma or something. If you can talk about, a whole lot of other things, it's just about as good as talking about, did you like RRR? No, I didn't like RRR. Just talk about money. That's it. You're sorted.
Yeah.
Big enough.
Yeah. And in I agree with what Anupam said because I've always had like a very healthy conversation with my partner about money. कि मेरा कितना पैसा आ रहा है, तेरा कितना पैसा आ रहा है, at least we know that much. And then we have a conversation. Then we came to a deal after getting married that one person will just do saving and fixed income, like fixed payments, like rent, electricity, whatever. And the rest of the money, all of it I park and save
Wow.
basically.
I like that.
And the
Yeah.
Yeah,
Super
and the
approach.
that's
other
great.
other person who will basically like have like obviously like she's also saving a bunch of it, but that will
Mm,
be less than what I am doing. But like that, then there's like indulgence money, which is travel,
Lovely.
food, other things. If we want to buy a car, we also consider an indulgence. So
mm,
like other things, so we keep adding on top of it. But then these two chunks that we have of savings are always there, because like if we want to buy like a house at some point, which is again like why, but anyway, if we do like we might. So I mean, we are still figuring it out, but as we go along we found that this is way more comfortable than what we had done earlier. And
mm,
now that like we keep going in and out of jobs, like I am in a stable job, she isn't, right? Then
yep,
the roles reverse also sometimes. So then that is what we are going with. So yeah. But
I'll just,
nice. Yeah,
sorry, Meghnad, if you're through,
yeah,
sorry, go on.
go on.
Yeah, I mean, Antariksh, we spoke about interpersonal thing out here. What is
yeah,
my
Hmm.
relationship with money? What is my, when I speak to my partner or my wife, what is what I I just thought of one thing suddenly, because when Meghnad was saying this, there's a third massive, I wouldn't say person, but entity out there, which is a society. That
yeah,
a lot
Yeah.
of our decisions on money are driven by what we see other people doing. And for me, I would say that, you know, pretty much all my friends, family are all in fixed jobs or businesses and all that. And
Hmm.
accepting that there are certain things that you cannot do now
mm,
is a big part about money. We spoke about what we
Hmm.
can do with money, but there's a lot of stuff that you cannot do with money because you chose a certain life.
Yeah.
Okay, so when
Hmm.
you hear people like, I bought a farmhouse here, and I'm like, "Mm, okay, you know, and that's,
mm,
I'm still
Hmm.
talking about a bigger stuff. Or some people who just indulge, and I mean, the studio is in car, we stay in West. I mean, so you know what the western suburbs are like. Okay, I don't
yeah,
know
Hmm.
which
exactly.
part
Hmm.
of Delhi that Meghnad is in, but you know
South
that,
Delhi.
there
Hmm.
you go. Now you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. Okay,
Yeah.
so, and I also come from a time where my, we are Gen Xers, so very
Hmm.
different kind of a
Hmm.
upbringing, very different kind of that. Hopefully, you guys are not swayed by society as much. But I just thought I'll just add one thing out there, that
Hmm.
when you have that kind of a job, or that kind of a income profile, then you need to be just very careful and have very clear limits. This is
Hmm.
what I
Hmm.
can do, boss. This I can't do, because once you go into
Hmm.
trying stuff that you cannot do, okay, wake up one fine day, let's buy an expensive car, let's pull ourselves, let's stretch ourselves, boss, that will
Hmm.
come back to bite you in the ass, and you do not want that. So you got to be very careful, really careful with stuff you
This
can't
is
do.
actually a great point to move into the larger question here, society, which is, what
Hmm.
society, how it affects your relationship with money as well, how you view money, because that is what I want to finally get down to, right? Like, how do you view money can be different from how someone else views money. And that's what I want to get to. So, Anupam, do you have a question to this what is money question, like a general question?
Question or
Answer,
answer?
sorry.
Answer, yeah,
Answer,
Can,
answer.
can I
yeah,
quickly
go
ask Anupam a pop culture question before we go ahead? Tell
go
me
for it.
how
Tell me.
Babu Rao Ganpat Rao Apte looks at money. Tell me what his
Oh
relationship
my
with money
God,
is.
Hera Fairy,
Oh.
huh? Look at that, Hera Fairy, Raju, and no man, I blanked
Okay,
out on that
he
one.
said
Risk, I
according to
think this
him,
is the
पैसा तो
देने
हाथ
वाला जब भी देता देता छप्पर फाड़ के. that
that's
the
is
song
that
I
is
think.
the
that is
way to look
that
at
is one
money.
relation, but that's not exactly money. His relationship with money is अरे पैसा तो हाथ का मैल है. अभी जाके उतार नाक पे उतार के लेके आया मैं. Something like that.
You got me fair
Yes.
and square on that one, yeah.
Yeah.
But please
So
go ahead.
yeah,
Please go ahead.
Meghnad, the world and its history, money. The only way to understand is that humanity needs transactions,
Hmm.
and whenever there's a buyer and there's a seller, there's money. That's it. I mean, that's what
Okay.
differentiates us from animals, right? Animals just wake
Hmm.
up one fine day, eat food, do whatever they want, and that's it. They're done.
Hmm.
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 Humans transact. So
Hmm.
there's all whenever wherever there is a transaction, you need two things. You need a common mode of exchanging stuff, which is
Hmm.
part one, and second is you need value. That's it. That's
Hmm.
money. So every human being on this planet agrees that if I need to buy something from Meghnad and if Meghnad needs to sell something to me, then I need something to figure it out. Okay,
Yeah.
back back in the day, it used to be sheep. Used to, people used to carry sheep and stuff
Cattle,
and
yeah.
wheels, cattle and all that, and that
Yeah.
used to be quote unquote money. Because
Hmm.
किसके दिमाग में तो था कि ठीक है, he gives me one log of wood, I give him one sheep. There's some
Yeah.
value there. We don't know what the value is, but mota moti chalo equal hai.
Hmm.
So
But
that
it
was
was
the
based on
concept
an
of
agreement, right?
it was based
There, the
on an
barter.
agreement. Yeah.
Yeah.
So every human on this planet, that's what money is. If I need to
Hmm.
transact, I need something, and that something needs to have a value. Baat khatam. Okay.
Hmm.
That's what differentiates, say, commercial relations. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Sorry, just interrupting with the
Yeah.
sheep example again. So, like, let's say I have wood, you have sheep. How do we decide what is the value of wood versus what is the value of sheep, and how does that become an exchange medium?
That is called the monetary system. That
Yeah.
happens, I think, somewhere. So that's when we graduated from sheep and wood to metal. Okay, the
Hmm.
gold age, and somewhere
Hmm.
I think down the line in history, people figured out that gold is valuable, silver is valuable. There's not much of it on this planet, so and it's easily, you can carry it easily. Okay, one
Hmm.
gold coin you just put in your pocket and boom, you're done. Okay,
Hmm.
Yep.
you can't carry a sheep in your pocket, right? So we need to kind of
Yeah.
move from a commodity as a currency. Now again, the concept of currency. So
Hmm.
something that can be used in a transaction, something that has value is called a currency. Now how you
Hmm.
define currency? Okay, back in the day we defined it as gold, we defined it as
Hmm.
silver, we defined it as
Hmm.
metal.
Hmm.
That's what the Western society did. China, of course, figured with paper money, what's called
Paper
fiat
money.
money.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So
Hmm.
paper money used to be कि बस गवर्नमेंट ने बोल दिया कि ये 10 रुपए है, यानी 10 रुपए है, बात खत्म.
It used
मोदी
to be
जी ने बोल
literally a
दिया
piece
कि
of
ये
paper, right? It used to be
हाँ.
literally just a random piece of paper. They didn't. It
So
just said, "Okay, this much
it's a
is
promise.
this
It's a
much."
promise. A
Ha, it's a promise.
promise
Yeah,
is something that you can
exactly.
use in a transaction and something that has
Hmm.
value. Okay, uske
Yeah.
Hmm.
piche the West said, we don't do promises. We need to back that up with gold. Okay, so if you have
Hmm.
gold
Mhm.
and gold is worth, I don't know, $100, so this is $100 bill, because the government
Hmm.
is here saying that we will print a fixed amount of money as long as we have a fixed amount of gold. Okay, and I
Hmm.
think somewhere in the 5th or 6th century, China said, we don't want to do all that. We'll just do paper and that's it. We are done. Then of course, That's how you had the Bretton Woods system, gold, currency, blah blah. 1971, the US said, forget it, यार नहीं हमसे ना हो पाएगा. We are
Hmm.
just switching to fiat currency. बात खत्म.
Hmm.
ये government है, government people का है. So people is equal to government. Government can just do whatever they want. They can take one piece
Hmm.
of paper here, say that I promise to pay you $100. That's it. You're done.
Hmm.
So that is
Hmm.
how the concept of money came around, and that's why, you know, you assume that people place their faith in government. Okay, that is the
Hmm.
first trust level that comes in. Okay, because without that, there's anarchy, and I think
Right.
Meghnad, you know how anarchy works. That's how crypto
Yep.
also kind of believe that we don't believe in governments, we don't believe in
Hmm.
central banks, we'll do our own shit. Okay,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
for the vast majority of the world, you put your trust in a government, the government then takes over everything and says hum chapenge, we'll just keep on
Hmm.
printing. And that's the concept of money that we know as of now. Of course, there is the whole thing about digital, there's about UPI, but that's the
Yes,
layer,
we'll come to that.
that's
We'll
the
come to
layer.
that
Yeah,
layer.
yeah,
We'll
yeah,
come to that layer. That is again a very
Yeah.
interesting layer to add on
yeah,
top of it. But I want to get to the gold standard bit a little bit, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so 1970s ke pehle, it was like, let's say I'm a banker and Antariksh is like someone who is coming to me
Hmm.
and giving his money, depositing his gold into my bank, right? So I have security, I have like
Yeah,
guards outside, so I charge him a fee कि तेरा gold में रखेगा and protect it, right? And then now he's like, अब मैं gold लेके तो नहीं घूमने वाला हूँ, so I give him a piece of paper and say कि boss अंतरिक्ष ये use कर ले, this is basically representative of the amount of gold you have in my bank, but you
yeah,
can use it elsewhere, you can like
Hmm.
deal with it. So that's the note, that's the trust. So the trust is basically gold कि ठीक
yeah,
है ये बैंक में इतना value है. Now let's say Antariksh now comes to me one day and says कि boss ये ले ये सब note ले मुझे gold दे दे. So I would be able to give it because I do have that gold.
correct, yeah,
Now, what I think, again, you correct me if I'm wrong, Anupam here. What I think happened and what went nuts was that I started issuing a lot more notes than the amount of gold I have with
yeah,
Hmm.
me.
yeah.
So then, when Antariksh came to me with like "Mera gold mujhe de de," I was like, actually, like I might not
I'm
have
yeah,
that much gold also.
yeah,
Hmm.
So like, and then if 10 Antariksh came to me, that's a bank collapse. So then is this what happened in the 1970s essentially?
kind of in the US, thanks to the oil crisis. So everything of money will lead you to some economic crisis. Okay, so you'll
Yes.
probably
Yeah.
so they've
Yeah.
whatever कुछ ना कुछ economic crisis, कुछ ना कुछ कीड़ा है. So
Uh-huh.
you look at the last 200 years, you just look at the
Hmm.
crisis that happened. You had World War One. Okay,
Hmm.
Hmm.
that had a very big impact on the international monetary system. You
Hmm.
had World War Two. World War Two actually got Bretton Woods because people said, "यार चलो boss, अब हम जो countries एक side पे, उनको तो साथ में आना पड़ेगा. We'll need to get people who are united and
Yeah.
believe in having a country and a currency and an exchange rate. We need to do something. We need to get our shit together. So let's use gold. Okay, the country that has more gold is richer than the country that has lesser gold, and currency systems, exchange rates were decided like that. Okay, this
Perfectly
happened.
logical, I would
Yeah,
say.
perfectly
Yeah.
logical, and this
Yeah.
this happened, but you needed a world war for that. Okay, so you needed a
Yeah.
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 you needed a world war for people to kind of realize that we need to do that.
Hmm.
And then in the 70s you had the economic crisis in the US. I think it was an oil crisis or something.
Hmm.
कुछ तो हुआ था, मुझे exactly याद नहीं है. And US said नहीं हो पाएगा यार हमसे, छोड़ दो ये सब gold world, हम छापेंगे या नहीं हम छापेंगे. So that's how the modern, this
Right.
monetary system came into being at that point of time, where people said that a promise from a government is as good as gold, and that is
Hmm.
all that human beings need. Tomorrow it could just be a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Government pays 10 rupees, so yeah, that t-shirt could be money. Anything, literally anything, would be currency. It's just
Hmm.
that when you have a government, there is a format and you limit the person who can print that. So you've got the mint, you've got a central bank. The government
Hmm.
offloads that magajmari to the central bank and says, bhai ye tumhara kaam hai, tum karo, baat khatam. Okay, so you have
Hmm.
to take care of inflation, you have to take care of all this, and that's it. So central banks in the
Hmm.
largest countries of the world are the guys who decide how much money has to be printed. And thankfully central banks are independent institutions, or supposed to be. For the most part they are.
Hmm.
They are also the people, they are basically the police. When shit goes
Hmm.
down, when things go wrong, you cannot call up Modi ji, right? You have to call up the RBA and figure out how to deal with this, unless
Yeah.
unless it's 8th November 2016 at 8 o'clock. Let
Yeah,
let's
exactly.
not go there.
They
But
they won't be answering calls after that. Yes,
yeah, because God
But
knows that
Antariksh,
was
actually, I want to go there a little bit with you.
yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
8th of November day, because did it blow your mind what was happening?
Oh, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Firstly, I did not when it was announced. I thought like, "Arey, this is fake news, right?" Because someone told me
Huh.
that this has happened.
Huh.
Because I don't watch the news and all. My parents are watching, and they're like, "Arey," I was like, "Oh, what is this rubbish? Mad what? They're not gonna. This suddenly my money is like invalid. That doesn't make any sense. At least I'll get a few weeks or a month to go and exchange aram se, you know." But they were
Yeah.
like, "No, instantly all your whatever bank notes you have, which are 500, 1,000, is gone."
Huh.
Then you didn't realize how much of an impact it had at the ATMs before you went to the ATM, or
Yeah.
when after like the first couple of days news started coming of the long ass lines at the ATM, right? So I did actually in the first day itself, or maybe the next morning, I did go to
Mm-hmm.
the ATM, and it was already like, dude, like a 1.5 hour line at the ATM. I've never spent that much time in ATM. It's ridiculous.
Huh.
uh, और तब यूपीआई भी नहीं था, or it
Huh.
wasn't as prominent. So there were times like now, though I can literally leave my house without any money
Without
in my
any
pocket.
cash.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
I very often forget my wallet. I don't even care. I'm driving
Hmm.
without a license because I don't need notes and all
Yeah.
anymore in my pocket.
Yeah.
And so UPI has helped in that regard. But
Hmm.
back then there was nothing like that. So I've
Hmm.
spent 3 different occasions during that demonetization time, like 1.5 hours, another 2 hours, another 1.5 hours, another time outside different ATMs in Bombay. Like one was in Andheri, one was in Powai, one was somewhere else. I'm forgetting right now. But
Hmm.
yeah, that was a very wild time. What about you guys? Did you guys
But
have a similar
did
thing?
it like did it change your perspective of money itself? Was I
It
was
definitely makes you think कि यार मेरे पास जो पैसे हैं उसके मायने ही नहीं है. Like anyone can
Ha.
literally, and कल नया prime minister होएगा. Tomorrow the new prime minister will be like, अच्छा, now today onwards your 10 rupee notes and 20 rupees notes are cancelled. Now
Exactly.
do what you want. So what are we
Huh.
supposed to do? How do we? It's almost better never having to withdraw money at all. Just keep it in your bank only, and then do whatever you want through bank transactions, directly digital transactions. Why have physical notes at all?
But
I don't know.
that's what I was coming to, Anupam. Sorry, I have to take a break here. Then I will come back to Anupam because I want him to sort of explore this a little bit.
Yes.
We are going for break. This is Explain Like I'm 10, and after we come back, I have to ask Anupam a little bit about the future of money, which is his favorite topic. Also, he's going to curse crypto like hell. So please wait for Anupam rants in the second half.
Hey folks, this is your host Anupam Gupta. I want to tell you all about Club Paisa Vaisa. This is a premium tier offering for fans of the show. Members of this club have a few privileges and let me tell you about them. Members will get access to episodes 3 days prior to the release. Members will get the archival access to all Paisa Vaisa episodes starting from day 1. And the non-members will still get access to the latest 15 episodes. I'll bring you weekly host insights, giving you my personal learnings from each episode on the show, and all of this will come with a completely ad-free experience. Finally, in 2023, we have some exciting plans for new exclusive content that is available only for members. You can go to club.ibmpodcast.com/paisa or click on the link in the description and sign up today. As an introductory offer, it's at ₹699 for a one-year membership. Note that starting 2023, all Paisa Vaisa episodes will become a part of Club Paisa Vaisa, and the non-members will get access to the latest 15 episodes. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you on the other side.
Hello and welcome back to Explain Like I'm 10. Today, the big question we are asking is what is money? And before the break, we were speaking about how demonetization sort of changed Antariksh's relationship with money in a way that he was like, what the fuck does this make sense anymore?
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah.
That happened to me also. मेरा birthday था 2 दिन बाद.
Oh
Like
no.
literally, right?
Wow.
For the first time in my life, I
What a
was
great
getting a
excuse for your
decent.
friends not to buy you birthday presents. यार पैसे ही नहीं है.
No, so for the first time in my life, 2016 was the year when I was getting comfortable amount of money. Now I was working
Oh.
with a political party, so the form that I was getting the money in was cash, and I
Man, that
got
is so
like my.
shady. Wait, why are political parties so shady? What?
अरे बॉस वो मतलब क्या मतलब पेपर
Okay,
पे
okay,
कुछ
okay.
तुम्हें मिल रहा है बट एक्चुअली तुम ज्यादा काम कर रहे हो तो वैसे मिल रहा है तो
Oh. Okay,
लेट्स
got it.
नॉट
Got
गेट
it.
देयर.
Let's not.
But the point being, I had my salary in cash on the day, and I was wrecked. I had booked a hotel matlab like a very fancy restaurant where I was going to take my partner to and like celebrate my birthday. I was like, "Main, for the first time in my life, I'll buy an entire bottle of wine, like
Oh
fancy
wow.
wine, and then
Oh
we'll do
man.
this whole French thing." And then 10th of November came, and this whole thing had happened. And I was like, fuck man, अब पैसा क्या करेंगे? I went to the market to buy bananas, right?
Hmm.
I went there and I was like, the fruit wala was like, कि sir ये तो नोट नहीं चलेगा. तो I said, तू ये नोट के साथ क्या करेगा? If I give it to you, what will you do? It's like, I'll put it in my bank. It's like, so I'm also putting it in my bank. So technically it does matter, right? Like this has value right now. You'll put it in your bank. I'll put it. तो मेरे को केला दे देना, तेरा सेल हो रहा है. And he looked at me, and then something I think changed in his brain. He's like, हाँ, कर सकते हैं. And then he's like, ले लो banana. And then I gave him the old money, and then I did that with a bunch of shopkeepers around me.
Cool.
And then I
Yeah.
realized that as long as I and the shopkeeper trust this money, it
Hmm.
still matters, right? I went to
Hmm.
that restaurant and I gave them old money, and they were like, हाँ ले लेंगे, हमको भी तो बैंक में ही डालना है. So essentially, I think during demonetization, there were two sort of things that were happening. I feel like it was a war between assenters and dissenters, where people who believed in Modi ji did not use the money. People who did not believe in Modi ji
Yeah.
actually managed to convince people to use the money still. Anupam, tell me.
One quick thing. One quick
Yeah.
thing. Sorry. I also remember. This was very funny. I'm sure you guys also must have found it quite humorous. Was that petrol pumps and grocery shops became ATMs in a way? Because at
Yes,
least
yes.
the grocery shop near my house was giving you, if you give them your money, if you give sorry, if you swipe your card at the grocery shop, they will give you 2,000 ka notes or whatever, how many ever you
Yeah,
need. That was also
yeah.
very bizarre time. Like, what is happening,
It
dude?
was crazy. Like that was a nutty time. I have so
Yeah.
many memories. But like Anupam, I just wanted to get to that question. The trust on the government part of this whole thing. Trust on an institution. Let's just say bank also. Like I trust my bank to keep my money right now. Isn't that a little shady? Isn't that like makes me like extremely
Hmm.
vulnerable to like the whims and fancies of one entity?
Yeah, because we know what happens with banks when they crash and all, right? People's money is
That's
just
what.
stuck
That's
for years and
exactly
years
it.
and years and years. Exactly.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, let's just separate the banks from the government part. The trust in the
Okay.
government, I
Fair.
agree with you. You know, when
Hmm.
I remember my initial reaction that day because even I drank the Kool-Aid and I was like, yeah, black market, yeah, this, that, and I
Hmm.
was like, "Arey, kya, wawa, and all. I think it took me about 2 days to realize that this is bullshit. Okay, because
Hmm.
anybody who stays in Bombay or any of the large metros knows that boss, ये जो जिनको tax evade करना है, they are miles ahead of everybody. They are
Yeah.
not the kind of people who stuff mattresses with,
Absolutely.
2,000 rupee notes, and once you catch them, and eventually that got proven out by the data because 98%, 99%, I think, of currency came back to the bank. Sharafat mein,
Yeah.
okay, Sharafat mein,
Yeah.
all that money came back. So that they might one or two incidents of some people burning their money, that's fine. That was used as a
Hmm.
big victory and all that and whatnot.
Hmm.
So what did we achieve? I don't know. I
Hmm.
mean, people say, "Arey,
Yeah.
nahi, money went to the system." Arey, boss, but that caused it. When people say that money went to I said, okay, it went to mutual fund. Mutual funds didn't know what to do with it, boss. It indirectly
Hmm.
caused the NBFC crisis that came much later. Remember ILFS? Remember Yes Bank? Remember
Hmm.
DHFL? Please trace all of that back to 8th November 2016. And people talk about how this UPI, yeah, theek hai yaar. There was a speech given by Nandan Nilekani. I referred it to it in my book. I think it was
Hmm.
2015 or 2016, where he spoke about the WhatsApp moment in hap- you know the WhatsApp moment is essentially when WhatsApp came in and changed a whole lot of stuff. And he spoke about how
Yeah.
there were already a lot of things in progress that were going to have a very big impact on India's financial sector. They were
Hmm.
already in progress. What's called the jam. You know this, Meghna,
Hmm.
the jam trinity. Okay, Jan Aadhaar,
Yes.
mobile and all that. So these
Hmm.
forces were
Hmm.
in play any which way. This
Hmm.
event came and just accelerated things. That's fine. But the cost that we paid, why does
Oh God.
somebody have to die?
Exactly.
Hmm.
Because one guy woke up one day in the morning and said that your money is useless. And
Hmm.
how
Yeah.
arrogant is it of me to just say, Mera bhala hua, so yeah, it's a good thing. There was a
Hmm.
cost. people died, and that
Hmm.
should not
Absolutely.
be acceptable to even one person in this country. Nobody
Absolutely.
needs to die waiting in line for his money. That's it.
Hmm.
People talk about soldiers are dying. Soldiers are theek hai yaar. All of us love our soldiers. All of us love our armed forces, and that's not up for even. But
Debate. Yeah.
yeah, but this is my money.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I need to get it from the bank. What just happened? Okay, so anyway,
Yeah.
exactly.
that's
Hmm.
trust in the government for me collapsed.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I don't think it can ever be restored again. I'm very thrilled that the Supreme Court is taking this up now, and there are hearings
Hmm.
going on.
Yeah,
God knows,
Hmm.
I don't know if anybody is watching it,
nothing's
but
nothing's gonna happen. Yeah,
people
Hmm.
just need to go to YouTube and see the debate that's happening. We
Hmm.
need to examine that day in depth, and
Hmm.
history needs to be written.
Hmm.
Okay,
like
and I'm really glad that Supreme Court is doing this because
yeah.
we need to talk about this more often. Yeah, 10 years later, if we have a Netflix series on this, and then we'll be better off for it. You can't just
Absolutely.
shut it and say, "अरे नहीं हो गया चलो आगे चलो
Hmm.
भला हुआ
Hmm.
ये." अरे घंटा. I don't think I'm not a
Hmm.
believer
Correct.
in that. So
Absolutely.
that's as far as trust in the government is concerned. Yeah, Antariksh.
So also, like, they kept repeating this, right? Was that yeah, black money will get caught, all the black money will get back in the system and whatever, whatever. Apparently the RBI came out with some report, a few years later after the fact, and it was like some 0.0 something
Yeah,
1% of
that's what. Yeah, yeah,
black
yeah,
money
Hmm.
that came in,
yeah.
which
And I
makes
mean,
you really like, dude, what did you do?
yeah,
What was
Hmm.
this for? You don't
Hmm.
completely just I mean, everyone's at a loss for words. Ki, what was this for? Who?
yeah,
What did you think
and
was gonna happen? You know?
India is a poor country. We will always need cash. I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
don't understand who woke up one. Why did people think that we don't this idea that cashless society like Sweden is note. And it was you're talking. Everybody says that we are number third in the world on. Yeah, okay, we are we might be number three or whatever the rank is on
Hmm. Hmm.
GDP size. I think we are ranked 130 on per capita income, which is what happens when
Yeah.
you divide GDP by number of people. So please,
Hmm. Hmm.
I love my country and I know that it's great, but thoda ek reality check kar lo. There are
Hmm.
poor people. Poor people need money, and that is it. Please do not,
Yeah.
no matter what UPI does, it's great, yeah, etc., etc. But people need cash, and I don't think that there
Yeah.
is even
Hmm.
a debate there. And as long as people
No,
need cash,
there was this extremely horrifying story I was reading of this very old lady somewhere in Kerala, I think, who did not realize that demonetization happened, right?
yeah,
And she had all of her money, like some 12K of her savings saved. That's the only money she had, no bank account, nothing. And like she realized some 2 months later, because that is when she went out for supplies to get
Oh
it from
no.
the nearby village. 2 months later, when the window was over for exchange, is when she realized that she can't use her old money. And
yeah.
then she just collapsed right there and was gone. Basically,
How? I
she
mean,
had such a shock that it's like, what do you mean my money is worthless now, right? And exactly to the point which Anupam said, right, which is the trust in government in a lot of ways also eroded for me, right, which is
absolutely. I
um
so the story that I keep on saying a lot. Sorry, I just since you're talking about
yeah.
stories, I just thought I'll put this in
Hmm.
because this has to do with the very posh localities here in Bandra. Then the story that I
Hmm.
heard at that point of time, I was really zapped, and I keep on repeating this story a lot on my podcast also. Is that very well off women had a bit of a problem, and here's why: because they used to take money from their husbands for monthly expenses, okay, and
Hmm.
they used to have to always haggle with them because husbands being
Hmm.
whatever, they would say ki, nahi, why do you need so much money, this
Yeah.
that and all. And whereas at some most of the time there was a genuine need, but knowing that their husbands would be like that, they used to keep a small amount of money hidden away, okay, so
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
agar kuch
Hmm.
karna pada, okay, it could be whatever reason, who are we to judge, okay, could be an indulgence, could be whatever that the husband would
Hmm.
frown upon. So every month they would keep this small money, this small amount of money aside. Now think about it, this is Bandra. Over a 5 year or a 10-year period, how much money could be squirreled away, and
Yeah.
in one
Hmm.
minute it's all gone, and you can't say it because
Yeah.
Right.
the minute you say it, you're
Yeah.
caught.
Yeah. It's like,
Hmm.
Okay,
yeah.
so it was
Oh god.
bizarre, man. It was bizarre, but yeah, there you have it. Yeah, there you have it.
Hmm.
Do you think people
No.
have just stopped doing that now then? Collecting, like, keeping money separate at home because they're like, yeah,
Maybe,
tomorrow it
yeah.
might just
So
be messy.
numbers. numbers tell us that currency in circulation is back. Okay,
Back,
it's
and
raw.
it's more, I think.
It's rock, which is fine. A growing
Hmm,
economy like India
hmm,
needs
hmm.
money, so so currency in circulation being there. I have enough friends, and I repeat, and some of them who interact with authorities, some of them who work with government as contractors, and they tell me, boss, this is party time.
Hmm.
Okay.
This is so we have forgotten what pre 2016 was, but cash is cash. I know of enough people
Yeah,
who
yeah.
say you want with GST, without GST. So
Oh
cash is
yeah,
back.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
Antariksh, to answer your question, we are back to those days. I don't think anything has changed. Are people saving more? Maybe, but cash is still as important. It will always remain important. It should
Hmm.
remain important. A currency
Hmm.
note can and never should lose its value, at least in India, because the trust that you had in the currency note says that, for God's sake, it says I promise to pay the holder, and
Yeah.
that promise just vanished there. Why?
Yeah.
Because anyway, forget it. Please don't get me started on this. I've got very
No,
strong views.
I love this because this is why you're here. This is your rant time. But like, okay, so let's move on from the currency itself to digital money, because that
Hmm.
is again another form which, say, like what Antariksh is saying, that he doesn't carry his wallet around anymore because UPI है तो like कोई भी UPI ले रहा है अभी तो मतलब सभी ले रहे हैं. And it's incredible, right? Like even the smallest of thelas around me
Yeah.
are now taking UPI.
Yeah.
ऑटो वाले के पास मेरे पास चेंज नहीं है, and he's like, अरे सर आप 20 रुपए दे दो ना UPI से. I mean, what is
Yeah.
wrong with you? And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, fine, whatever, they do.
And
Everybody's
often
taking
even
UPI.
even outside like major tier cities,
Yeah,
it is
yeah,
the
yeah.
case. They are taking UPI,
I
which
I
is
went I went
quite.
went on this whole election journey in West Bengal and UP, and
Hmm.
everywhere they're taking UPI. Like, I mean,
Wow.
it's quite nutty how much like in
The penetration. Yeah.
penetration it has, this whole
Hmm.
system, which I think is actually a great thing, because this whole brings in like a lot of layers again, which is formalized economy versus informal. I'm not going there, but I just want to talk about the fact that my money right now is essentially a number that I see on my bank website. Is it more than that? And is this money being printed by the government? What is happening here?
No, there will always be a finite number of money in India or anywhere which
Okay.
which follows the monetary system. There will always be a finite amount of currency which will be printed, and now whether that currency is held in the bank or it's held in your wallet as a note or
Mm.
wherever it is, that money is finite, and only the
So when you're
RBI
saying
presses.
printed, when you're
Yeah,
saying printed, is
yeah.
it actually physical printing of that money, or is it like transfers are also happening
So
in the
that
back end,
there
so to
is a
speak?
breakup of all of that. Okay, some of it
Right.
is in currency, some of it is in other forms. So only a limited amount. I think it's M0, M1, M2, M3. Another, there are different forms. But
Hmm.
if you look at the stock of money today, it will be held in different forms. Some of it is held as
Okay.
fixed deposit. Okay, fixed deposit is a
Hmm.
massive number. Some of it is held in the banks as savings deposit. So those deposits are also money, because logically you can walk up to your bank and remove all the money that you want. Okay,
Hmm.
nobody stops you from that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the minute you convert that in the government's balance sheet just moves from one heading to one more heading. Okay,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
obviously if 135 crore Indians went to their banks and removed all the money at the same time, there would be chaos. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Hmm.
that is a you wouldn't want that to happen, because suddenly the banks will go broke. If
Hmm.
banks go broke, how will they loan? Okay, and the banks are
Hmm.
also, banks is a very simple concept here. Bank is what? Bank is a place where the raw material and finished product is the same.
Hmm.
They take money from here, they give money here. That's it. So if one source completely stops, the other source also kind of gets screwed, right? So yes, the
Hmm.
answer to your question is yes. The money held in currency, the money held in banks, there is a number to it, and the RBI is in control of that number. The United States, of course, famously after the crisis, decided that there will not be a number. Something that Japan also did, because that's when when you go into that kind of crisis, and when people say that I am flat broke, I do
Hmm.
not have a single rupee to spend for whatever reason.
Hmm.
If 100 million people say it, then someone needs to back them up and say, okay, listen, we'll sort this out. We'll send money into your we'll send money into your house, which is what the US did in the last
Hmm.
in the
Hmm.
COVID crisis. They actually sent
Hmm.
checks and said,
Hmm.
here is money. Now that money came literally from nowhere. Nowhere. The
Yeah.
US government just said, Chapo, 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 chapo. Okay,
Oh,
there's nothing to back it.
This is what I was coming to, right? This is
Yeah,
the bizarrest thing that I cannot process in my head
that's a
on
nuclear
most
button.
days.
It's a nuclear
Yeah, it
button.
is, right?
Yeah.
It is basically so. Like Antariksh, imagine this, right?
Yeah.
Like tomorrow, if essentially our government also decides कि नहीं हम छापेंगे, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? People trust us. People trust this money, so we have infinite money now, and
Yeah.
that is what I think US and Japan is doing right now, which is
But there'll always be
they're
a
just
cost to
like
that, I think. Yeah, but there will always be a cost. Japan has been in economic crisis for like 10. I mean, the stock market hasn't gone back to where it used to be 20 years ago. So
yeah.
there will always be a cost, which is why it's called the nuclear button. Which is why I'm glad that the government did not choose to do it. The US did it.
Hmm.
They are facing the consequences. They are facing the and there are
Hmm.
always consequences because
Like it leads to
you
way more inflation, if I'm not wrong, right?
there's
Just more
inflation.
money being out there,
The concept is called
more
acid
currency.
bubbles. Like so,
Okay.
acid bubbles is like the US pushed that nuclear button back in 2009, and for the next 10
Hmm.
years, money spread all over the world. Suddenly,
Hmm.
startups, for example, had like tons of
Yeah.
money, and these
Yeah.
guys are like roaming around like cool guys, giving long posts on LinkedIn ki aisa karne ka, waisa karne ka. And I was like, yeah, you just somebody in the US just pushed a button. So somebody came to you and just gave you muft ka paisa. It literally is muft ka paisa. It
Yeah.
literally is money without a cost. And
Yeah.
so there are always consequences. And once that button is not pressed anymore and you go back to normalcy, it's like just saying that someone who's just binge eating, knowing that he will not put on weight, he just goes on eating, 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 and then one fine day says that I have put on weight, and now he's going to
Hmm.
lose that weight,
Hmm.
and that's called inflation, and that's what's happening in the US. अभी भुगतो अभी यार करो अभी उसको उसको अनवाइंड करने को भी टाइम लगेगा ना अभी
Hmm.
करो
Hmm.
देखो कितना टाइम लगता है लेट्स सी हाउ इट गोज यार so there's always a cost. I think at that point
Yeah.
of time, that was the only option left in the global financial crisis and in COVID. Because your immediate reaction is to just, you can't think of long term consequences. Because what else will you do? Will you increase taxes?
Hmm.
भाई,
Hmm.
नौकरी नहीं है लोगों को बस
Yeah.
टैक्स क्या इंक्रीज करोगे
That's true.
so
That's
yeah
true.
so I don't sit here to judge whether inflating or rather that free money or printing money was a right or wrong thing. At that point
Hmm.
of time it seemed like the only choice, but now humanity, and I say humanity because when the US prints money, the entire world
Exactly.
pays the price. So we are paying the price.
Exactly. Yeah. No, यहाँ पे I wanted to bring in this one whole thing about credit. So just one simple question to Antariksh. Antariksh, do you have a credit card?
I do not.
You do not
I
have
don't
a
have a
credit
credit, so
card.
I don't have a credit score. Am I right in saying that? I won't have a credit
CIBIL.
score if I don't have a
Yeah.
credit card. A CIBIL score.
Uh, yeah. It's very interesting, Anupam. I have kept away from credit cards for my entire life. But
Hmm.
this year, I was like, let's do it. Because I had kept away because my mom got caught in a credit card fraud.
Oh.
And
That's
it,
tough.
it was basically horrifying for her. Like she lost like a big chunk of her income, etc. And then after that, we were all like the credit card evil, kya karenge types. And this year I got it. A similar thing happened with my dad. Actually, he was investing his money into this Samta Sahakari Bank, and the bank turned out to be a fraud. I mean, like
Yeah.
Like
the
a Farsi
directors
bank?
just gave out. Yeah, no, the directors basically did a proper scam. What they did was paisa lete the depositors se, and on top of it they would give loans to their own people, like
Hmm.
for various businesses, and they are not creating any businesses, so no money was coming back. So they gave so much loans out that when a situation came where some depositors came to withdraw money, panic set in where a lot of depositors started coming in, and then the bank collapsed कि हमारे पास पैसा ही नहीं है, we can't give you back anything. My dad lost his 10-year savings in that, and that was
God damn.
so we had like this phase in our life where my mom was dealing with credit card, my dad was dealing with no money. So then it was horrifying, right?
Do you ever get
Again,
your money back from a bank if something like this happens?
so the insurance that was there on the RBI insurance was 1 lakh rupees, but my dad
Oh,
had way
okay.
more than that. So 1
Yeah,
lakh
yeah.
rupees
Of
मिल गया, but
course.
उससे क्या ही होगा,
उससे क्या
right?
होगा? हाँ, that's all.
But anyway, but like the point being that I got a credit card this year, and like 3 days ago they increased my limit, right? And they gave me an option: do you want to increase your limit? I did. I increased it a little bit. And again, something switched in my brain. It's like I just created money out of thin air
Mhm.
for myself. I want to understand this sort of mentality from you, Anupam, because it also ties into what you said about US printing a lot of money, right?
Hmm.
Is it possible for us to just now create money and live on debt? Because see so many people doing it.
Okay, the answer to your I mean, first of all, your credit limit increase. So your money didn't
Yeah.
increase, your power to withdraw that much money increased. No one came to you and said, "Here, Meghnad, here, take 1 lakh free of cost." No.
No, I know,
Someone,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So let's first talk about that. So it's
Yeah.
not it's not creation of money. I mean, the way that I look at it, what is credit? Credit is a loan.
Hmm.
That's it. Baat khatam.
Hmm. Hmm.
What is a loan?
Hmm.
Somebody says, "You give me something," and that's it. Okay. So the
Hmm.
guy giving you that loan has placed trust in you. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in some cases, he takes security. Okay, which
Hmm.
is called a secure loan or collateral. Okay. So
Hmm. Hmm.
तुम्हारा गाड़ी ले लिया, तुम्हारा scooter ले लिया, तुम्हारा घर ले लिया, whatever it is, and then he gives you the money because he knows that if you default or you just vanish someday, he can sell the house and get something back. That's how credit essentially works. Two
Hmm.
forms of it, secured and unsecured. But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, it's a promise. That's it.
Hmm.
A
Hmm.
promise is verbal. There's no,
Yeah.
and any verbal promise needs to be backed by trust.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the person who gave you the credit card would have seen in the last 1 year your pattern of spending and your pattern of
Hmm.
repayment. Okay.
Hmm.
And if he feels that as per an algorithm or as per the data or as per his his calculations, the chances of Meghnad not paying back my money are low, then he's saying, okay,
Hmm.
if your limit is 3 lakhs, let's make it 5 lakhs. Okay.
Hmm.
And the minute that you mess around with that, you'll pay the price because credit cards are, see, yeah, credit cards, honestly, I would not be able to live a normal life if I didn't have a credit card. And I'll tell you why.
Hmm.
Because for me,
Hmm.
without regular income, भाई खर्चा तो चलते रहता है ना.
Hmm.
Just because I have regular income, I can't tell my landlord, यार income नहीं आया, rent नहीं देंगे, मैं तुमको 3 महीने का rent साथ में दे दूंगा. He'll say, अच्छा,
Hmm.
चलो निकलो यहाँ से. Okay, और मैं
Hmm.
mobile पे. So to deal with that, credit cards are just lifesavers for me. They are essential things for me because I don't need to withdraw any money from, say, an investment which I know is
Hmm.
earning a certain interest rate. It's simple, yeah. If I have an FD at 6% and if I have a credit card which is literally 0%, if I
Hmm.
pay the full amount
On time, yes. Hmm.
on time, okay, then why should I not use that? I'm not even talking about
Correct.
reward points. Let's leave alone reward points. Okay, let's just
Hmm.
leave
Hmm.
that side and just say, what is a credit card? A credit card is someone is someone who's come to you, gave you a piece of plastic, and said, do whatever you want. For
Hmm.
45 days, you can spend, within a limit, but at the 45th day, you have to pay the entire thing to me, no matter what. I'm like,
Hmm.
that's a very good deal for me here. For me, that works
Hmm.
out really well because I don't have to remove my investments that are earning a certain rate of income. I can wait for 45 days, figure out my life. Maybe, a sponsor is there for Paisa Vaisa and I can use that money instead. Or if
Hmm.
there's no sponsor and if I'm short of money, then I will go and figure out what to break in my investments. But
Hmm.
that gives
Hmm.
me tremendous freedom, provided I pay every rupee on the due date. Now, that is the
Hmm.
only level of discipline that is required of me. That's the only level of discipline, and I feel that's easily manageable to me. And a lot of conversation
But
that I see, go on.
Anupam, but like here, like we are talking about your personal credit card, right? But
Yeah.
let me ask you this. So if Antariksh tomorrow wants to buy an airport, can he go to a bank and get a loan and buy like an airport?
No,
Because
he
people
can't.
do that. So why
Yeah.
can't he do that?
Because he's got no balance sheet, right?
Yeah, no capital also.
So loans
He can make
loans
one
are,
up.
I think that systems these days on figuring out profiles are slightly more robust than what it used to be in the 90s, where you could just walk into a bank. The saying goes, right? If you default 1 crore, it's your problem. If you default 100 crore, it's the bank's problem. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's how they say. No, but you're right about that. When you look at it at an institution level, see, there is always going to be some amount of risk involved in all the loans. And
Hmm.
typically, a lot of economic expansions, boom periods when everybody's doing really well, are followed by crisis on the NPA. So what you saw from 2003 to 2008, I think the Sensex went up from 3,000 to 21. That's 7 times. The economy just boomed. You had a long period where we were growing at 10% per year. That is super
Hmm.
hot and super fast. And all
Hmm.
of that was fueled by banks giving loans to people like you just mentioned. Someone's building an airport,
Yeah.
someone's buying aircraft, someone's building a
Hmm.
steel plant, someone's doing a cement plant, X, Y, Z, A, B, C. Remember that time, credit cards weren't issued that much. That's what we're seeing now.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Yeah.
banks need to, banks are at the end of the day, they're working for a profit, so they need to keep on giving loans. So that
Hmm.
2003 to 2008 period was then followed by this whole what's called NPA crisis, where people like
Yeah.
Antariksh, who should have never been given a loan to buy an airport, somebody woke up one fine day, he was, अपना तो बैंड बज गया है, अभी कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा. So then you had this
Mhm.
long period of banks undergoing NPA, and now finally they're coming out of that, where they say कि
Hmm.
जो पैसा गया तो गया. You can't do shit about it. What money is lost is lost. Some money comes back, some money doesn't. ठीक है, life है. So those are called NPAs, non-performing assets, and
Yeah.
every bank has to deal with some percentage of it actually going bad. There is no bank in India, probably the planet, which does not have a situation where out of 100 loans given, okay, all 100 come back. There will be
What is
some
the
tiny.
acceptable percentage here? It would be.
I mean, ideally it should be zero, right? But if it's
Yeah.
not
Ideally,
zero,
it should be zero.
anything less than 1% is awesome. Anything less
Hmm.
than 2% is just awesome. But when you've got a
Hmm.
situation where some are going into 10%, you're like, okay, something's really wrong. And that's
Mhm.
what happened in the whole NBFC crisis, right? I mean, that whole demonetization thing. See, when you suck money out, it's
Hmm.
the opposite of an economy expanding. And that's
Hmm.
again, it's the exact reverse. When you suck money out, people are going to be like broke. If you're broke, you won't pay the loan. Baat khatam. And that's what
Hmm.
happens, and that's what. And now we are through one up cycle, one down cycle, and now finally things are kind of normalizing. When you look at stocks like SBI, the entire PSU banks in the stock market have finally boomed, which people were waiting for a very long period of time, because the profit numbers that are coming out now in the last 2 quarters, it actually shows that yeah, इन्होंने finally अपना bad loans write off करके now they're going back to what life is like in normal business conditions. So yeah.
So just to give context to Antariksh a little bit here. So what happened in the past? I think since and you're right. Like I mean, like past few years, essentially before the pandemic, that lots of loans that defaulted. मतलब इंडस्ट्री खोल लिया पैसे लेके
Mhm.
बना लिया सब कुछ बट it's built on loan and these banks had given the loans. So now what the government is doing is they are just saying नहीं रहने दो मत दो थोड़ा बहुत दे सकते हो तो दे दो types. And the other thing they are doing is that if one bank had given a loan, the second bank had given a loan to the
Yeah.
same person, they just merged it up. Now there are like these bank
Mm.
mergers happening. So now
Yeah.
there are like these giant banks everywhere, which is
Mm.
just so my question here then would be, um, wouldn't these banks still do the same thing though?
They would, of course they would. Of course they would. They would 100%,
So
but with different people.
exactly
With
my
different
point. So
people.
like I
Yeah, yeah.
mean,
But
but
that's
there
which is
is
which is what I was saying. No, but Meghnad, how else will you grow the economy? If you keep on giving loans to only people that fit a certain profile, and if you're 100% sure that only they will pay back and nobody else will pay back, that's not fair. Because, and B,
hmm,
that's not how. I mean, what is credit? It gets me back to the same point. A credit is a promise. Baat khatam. And
hmm,
when an economy is doing well, you as an entrepreneur, you'll say you've got a fantastic idea. You want to open a new studio, and you're very convinced that that idea of yours will work. It has to work. And you put in all your passion for that. But you don't have a single rupee. Okay. Now,
hmm,
maybe you'll get your friend who'll give you like, ye lo yaar, mere se 1 lakh lo. Friend, family mein sab kar ke you have 5 lakhs. But
hmm,
you need 10 lakhs. Now, what will you do?
hmm,
Ultimately, you have to approach someone. Okay. So, a lot of
Yeah.
these entrepreneurs, and forget this, ye to personal thing hai. Let's look at Tata Motors. Okay, now Tata Motors makes trucks and cars and all of that, and they've got this
right,
massive base of small-time contractors.
Mm.
What's called the MSME, medium and small. Micro, small, medium enterprises. Okay,
enterprises, yeah,
these
yeah,
are people where the entrepreneur invests a little bit on his own, but he'll build a plant, and he says that I can only do say 10 crankshafts in a year. Okay, or
hmm,
10 crankshafts in a month, and Tata Motors comes and says, boom, we want you to make 100. Now you tell me what will that guy do? Okay, maybe
hmm,
Hire more
because
people, hire a bigger team,
that,
maybe, right?
but that requires money, na? And
Yeah.
remember how his business works, how any business works is you sell someone today, but you won't get the money on the same day. Okay,
Hmm.
because not
Yeah.
everyone is like a kirana store or a bhaji wala. तुमने 10 रुपए लिए और तुमको भाजी
Hmm.
दिया. In the real world, when you handle businesses, you supplied someone say 10 crates of Pepsi. That guy will say, I need credit. I'm not going to pay you this full amount. Okay.
Yeah.
Some people work the other way, like two-wheeler companies and auto companies. What's called FMCG companies,
Hmm.
they ask for advance from the suppliers. Okay. But
Hmm.
that's just one part of the economy. When you've got someone who's constructing a cement plant, he has an entire schedule and he
Hmm.
can't pay you on the same day. Like you give him a boiler, the guy can pay you on the same day. So
Yeah.
credit is one of the most essential forms of money that
Hmm.
moves an economy. So you
Hmm.
cannot just say, "Yeah, I will only do good credit." Risk taking is the
Yeah.
heart. What's called animal spirits and all that whole thing.
Hmm.
You don't. I mean, someone's got to foot the bill for that. And now there are some banks like an HDFC bank which has, which is conservative. So they won't, they
Hmm.
would rather give it to someone who has a credit card because the chances
Hmm.
of someone defaulting on his credit card are, the default rates are lower there. Okay, which by the
Hmm.
way is a very interesting thing. The default rates on home loan are higher than that of credit. Which I kind of thought was funny.
Hmm.
People would rather,
What?
yeah,
Oh.
people
Really?
would rather give up their house rather than.
Yeah, then the credit
Yeah.
card.
But
Wow.
yeah, I mean, there was my ex boss told me about this, and he said that that's just how this works. But that's how it. I mean, both are very different products.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I don't think there's much of a difference. Anyway, so that's the answer to your question. That if you want the economy to grow, credit is a very big part. And India, though, is
Yeah.
nothing as compared to the Western country when it comes to
Yeah.
credit. Yeah, we are like
Hmm.
we hardly take any loans here. So you need
Hmm.
credit. Every boom will have a problem, but that's just how the economy works.
Hmm.
It's safe to say that the current quote unquote supply of money that we are talking about, I think more than the money itself, there is more debt, which is also money. So essentially,
We are
it's
comfortable there.
promises.
We
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, see, the thing is that yeah, if you look at India's finances, yes, the income that we get in the form of taxes, the
Hmm.
biggest thing that it goes out is to pay our loans, and our loans
Interest.
are nothing. Yeah, the interest component,
Yeah.
interest and defense are the largest
Yeah. Yeah.
outgoes from the taxes that we earn.
Hmm.
But that's just how it is. A government debt is a state level debt is a, thankfully it's not at an alarming level where
Hmm.
a lot of emerging market economies like Argentina's and Venezuela's had God Lord knows how many crises that they've gone under through the years. The late 90s
Hmm.
had one, very big one. India thankfully just had one in 91, and after that we are moti we are sorted. I mean, we
Hmm.
learned our lessons, and whatever you say to whichever government, I don't want to get political in all this. Throughout, we've done a reasonably good job of getting our finances together, irrespective of the way the world goes. So
Right.
good job there. Yeah.
Before I move on to my last bit on the future of currency, Antariksh, in case you have any more questions about this.
No, this
Yeah,
was
sorry, I
pretty well
might have gotten a
explained.
bit technical. I might have got a
Yeah,
bit
no,
No,
technical
no.
out here, but
Yeah.
I'm
no,
sorry
no
about
worries.
that. There's no other way to explain that. I
No, no,
I
Yeah.
I
did
get it.
have a question from a
Done.
kid once. When
Yeah.
the parent, who's a very good friend, just called and says, "My kid has this question." So the question was that why doesn't the government give money to everybody? So I was like, huh, okay, why
That'll
does
be.
well the yeah, when the US tried it and we are facing the consequences,
Hmm.
Hmm.
let's say that you get 1 lakh rupees per day, Antariksh, what would you do?
Hmm.
Relax. Not work. Nobody will get any work done. I'll be part of it.
Yeah, but then you'll wake up and say you want to spend, right?
Yeah, well, that's true.
And you'll buy whatever you
Yeah,
can,
exactly. As much as you
and
can,
especially
by the
stuff
best.
that you couldn't buy before.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, if
Hmm.
everybody starts thinking like that, then the guy who's supplying it, he'll just run out of, let's say that you say that, I want to make omelets every day. So what do you need for omelet?
Hmm.
You need eggs, you need tomato, kanda, salt, and
Mhm.
mirchi.
Yeah.
And you just got free money to do that. Now, if you do that and everybody in your building does that, the neighborhood guys will go broke. They can't
Yeah.
supply
Mm.
that much. You have
Yeah.
got the money instantaneously. They haven't got those many eggs. Okay, so at the first wave,
Mm.
prices will shoot up. Okay, which is
Hmm.
called inflation. Okay,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
suddenly find that the guy is selling you
Mm.
eggs at some 500 rupees per dozen, but you'll say, hey, I'm getting unlimited. So मेरे को तुम 500
Hmm.
में बेचो, 1000 में बेचो, मेरे को क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Okay,
Hmm.
you'll do that. The guy next to you does that. The guy staying above you does that. The guy staying below you does that. The egg guy says, sorry guys, I don't have any eggs. Waiting time to buy an egg will go from 1 day to 1 week, and that
Hmm.
Mm.
entire thing will repeat across everything that you know. it'll happen to tomato, it'll happen to kanda, it happened to butter. It just, and one fine day you'll say, "Mere paas to itna sara paisa hai, but I can't buy
But
anything."
you have nothing to buy,
Mhm.
There are literally no
essentially.
houses out there because there's always a
Yeah.
lag. Yeah, money happens in the instant, but
Yeah.
things are produced over a period of time. So that is the reason why you cannot print money forever and give it to
Uh,
everybody. Okay, some
I
point of
had
time
this
you will.
very weird instance once where one of my friends who ran a business, like it was basically like a thela, not really, but like a shop, like a hole in the wall restaurant sort of a thing, right? And with this one very good chef who made like momos and etc. And there was also side में एक bakery भी खोल लिया types, तो वो दोनों करता था. Suddenly, this guy chanced upon a lot of money. Like literally, one of his relatives died, and he got like this shit ton of money. Next day, he just quit. Right?
Oh,
He's like, अब मेरे पास इतना पैसा है. I am going out. I am going
yeah.
to basically just chill for 3 months, do nothing, and you figured it out. He left. Right? And then this guy's business basically was like, what? This guy just left, and like क्या करेंगे उसके बाद? So, like to come to Anupam's point, right? Like too much money coming to one person very suddenly can lead to
Yeah,
like massive consequences that
yeah,
way.
Hmm.
because this exactly happened in demonetization. The mutual fund
Hmm.
started getting so much money. What will they do? Now, let's say that
Yeah.
Antariksh is a mutual fund manager and his job is to manage money and all. He
Hmm.
is
Yeah.
a guy who goes to work every day, says कि मेरे को 10 रुपए आया, 10 रुपए invest किया. Antariksh will put it in X, Y, Z, ABC. And then for 3 days, the guy gets 10 lakhs every day. 10
Hmm.
lakhs every day has come at his doorstep.
Hmm. Hmm.
What will you do? You
Yeah.
have
What
no
will you
idea.
do? Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you
yeah.
do?
Yeah.
So what you do is, okay, you just dump it in whatever you can find. You give it to the
Hmm.
shadiest person because you're investing. Okay, you're giving him a loan. Now some of that loan will come back to you.
Yeah.
Some of that loan just didn't, and therefore IL and FS, and therefore Yes Bank,
ILNFS.
therefore
Hmm.
PMC. So that's how this works.
Hmm.
Whenever there is a lot of money flowing without any restrictions,
Hmm.
कुछ ना कुछ प्रॉब्लम तो होने ही वाला है. उतना मेरे से लिख के रख लो. I mean, in what format that happens, that keeps on changing, but this will happen for the rest of our lives. As long as the world is spinning, there will be
Hmm.
scams, there will be frauds, there will be NPS. Otherwise,
And
that's
there
just how
will
this
be
works.
and there will be cryptocurrencies. So
There
the
will be
last part I
Yeah.
want
cryptocurrencies.
to
Like
I want to
I
bring
honestly,
I want to
crypto
talk I
scams.
want
Yeah.
you to talk a little bit about cryptocurrencies, Anupam,
so
because
I,
so sorry, but like thoda caveat then
Hmm.
so here essentially I did an episode before this with the CEO of CoinSwitch on
Hmm.
whether cryptocurrencies will survive, right? It's a very very fascinating conversation we had on the future of crypto. Of course, he was invested in it. I mean,
Yeah.
उसको तो चाहिए कि survive, उसका पूरा business ही बना है, तो of
Hmm.
course it was a biased opinion, right?
Hmm.
Like after the whole FTX collapse and all the things, मेरा भी बहुत पैसा गया उसमें, not बहुत, but like a little bit. I tried to put it in, देखते क्या होता है types, गया मेरा पैसा. But
Hmm.
my now I wanted to ask some of the same questions to Anupam also, right? Which is basically a so now that you have this, say let's say entity which कभी भी तुम्हारा पैसा लेके जाएगी, कभी भी तुम्हारा कुछ भी कर देगी, तो now people are in this situation, I think 2008 से crisis के बाद, that they
Hmm.
don't trust this entity anymore, and they're like, our money should not be dependent on these fuckers, basically. Like blanket, right? And then this guy Satoshi Nakamoto, random, they them someone came and they
Bitcoin.
were
Yeah.
like, yellow Bitcoin, this is like this cryptographic currency which has value now, it is limited in number, so you attach value to it, so it has value. And then they mined all of it, and then now it is basically digital gold, as they call it, right? Mm, does that work? Does that work as a currency? What do you see as the problems with it?
I don't see. I think conceptually it's bang on track in the sense that there is a certain need for it. And I think, like everything in the history of mankind, once the government gets into it, it becomes legal. Baat khatam. Right now, it's not legal. Okay. But in case of crypto, that is the allure. That is the whole point of it. It should not be regulated. But
Yes.
unfortunately, for it to grow, it needs to be regulated. If it is not
Hmm.
regulated, it will never become mainstream. If it does not become mainstream, then who really cares? Okay, can
Hmm.
I ask Meghnad ki Meghnad, I'm coming on your show, give me one Bitcoin? You might say yes, but if I ask Antariksh, he'll say यार मेरे को नहीं देने का, ये 100 रुपए ले ले, बात खत्म. ये 100 रुपए
Hmm.
के पीछे तो गवर्नमेंट है ना, ये 100 रुपए मैं बाजी वाला को जाऊंगा, वो मेरे को कुछ तो देगा ना. ये बिटकॉइन का क्या
Hmm.
मैं घंटा करूं? Okay,
Hmm.
that is the point of legality and regulation. And
Hmm.
ultimately, my sense is that crypto, I think the governments will figure out a way to regulate it and earn money off it. टैक्स बन सकता है तो
Hmm.
क्यों नहीं पकड़ो साला, पकड़ो उसको. ओके,
Hmm.
Hmm.
if they do not do it, then it will never get trust, and there'll always be
Hmm.
crisis. Now see, look at look at the stock market. Okay, the stock
Hmm.
market in India started under a massive tree in South Bombay. Okay, because 10 people or 100 people just got together and said, ये मेरा शेयर है, तुम खरीदो, ये मेरा शेयर है, तुम बेचो. And boom,
Okay.
stock market is created.
Huh.
Again, trust, right? Just trust.
Hmm.
So a company at that point of time, the railroad company wanted to make rail,
Hmm.
so they issued shares. Now shares kya hai? It's just a piece of paper.
Right.
Somebody says it's worth 10 rupees, so 10 people got under a people tree, and whichever tree, I don't remember what it was, and said, I
Huh.
have 10 shares of railroad company, I think they're worth 1,000. Oh, you think it's worth 1,200? Don't worry, I'll sell you for 1,000. That guy takes it
Hmm.
from me for 1,000 and sells it for 1,200. He's happy, I'm happy, everyone's happy. The government doesn't know this. Okay.
Hmm.
And the
Hmm.
last guy in the line comes and says, I have 10 shares, they were 20,000. But the railroad company just went bust. उन लोग का पूरा money
Ah.
scam निकला. So
Hmm.
tough luck, buddy. This paper
Hmm.
is,
Nothing.
you might as well
Very much.
just
Yeah.
throw it. But
Yeah.
Tear it and throw it.
if I had 1,000 rupee note at that, or 100 rupee note at that point of time, which says the government of India promises to pay you, I can still buy
Hmm.
bhaji from that, na?
Hmm. Hmm.
I
Hmm.
can't do stuff with this. That is the difference between legality and regulation. And crypto is currently
Ah.
here, where literally nobody on this planet cares about it because it cannot be
Hmm.
used. Of course, it's believers and certain people who believe and accept it. तुम करो, तुमको जो करने का है यार, मेरे को क्या फर्क पड़ता है. But for the
Hmm.
vast majority of humankind on this planet, until and unless it is not regulated, supervised and taxed,
Hmm.
वो चलते रहेगा. उसको करने दो जिसको जो करने का है. Who cares यार? At least
Hmm.
the other problem with it, I wouldn't say problem. It's actually a feature, not a bug. Sorry to use a cliche.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
unlike art. You buy a
Hmm.
Hussein, which is an authentic, original, certified Hussein. You know it's got value. Okay, you're willing to
Hmm.
take the risk that the value goes up and down. Okay, and you're willing to stay with that. But you know that one day when you have to sell it, there will be a buyer for it. You don't know at what price,
Yeah.
Right.
but
Hmm.
it's a Hussein, for God's sake. Koi na koi
Hmm.
to hoga. Okay. Now that market is also not regulated and not supervised, but it's a art
Hmm.
market. It survived since I've lost track. Okay, 12th century, 13th
Forever.
century,
Ha ha. Ha ha.
forever. स्टॉक मार्केट सेबी है, आरबीआई है, गवर्नमेंट है, वहां भी मेरा पैसा, मैं कंगाल हो सकता हूँ. आई एम नॉट सेइंग
Hmm.
दैट ऑल कंपनीज विल डू वेल टुडे. इफ आई बाय 1,000 shares of XYZ, of course XYZ can die and my investment can
Hmm.
become zero. But I know that when I call my broker is authorized. When the shares come to my demat, the demat is held under a bank. All
Hmm.
of that is legit, and the only
Hmm.
risk I'm taking is the risk of believing that that company will do well. What is crypto?
Hmm.
Do I have those kind of guarantees there? I
Hmm.
don't
Nope.
think I do,
No.
because I wake up in the
Hmm.
morning and one exchange has gone put. It's an
Correct.
exchange, for God's sake. It's an
Yeah.
Yeah.
exchange. All its
Yeah.
job is to clear stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But वो भी गया. तो क्या करूं
Huh.
मैं यार? So, but the
Yeah.
idea is there. I think, it served as a great opportunity for governments to wake up and realize that there is a trust deficit and we need to do something about it.
Hmm.
Now,
Hmm.
how, like India is, I think, doing something called the centrally backed digital currency. Okay.
E-rupee.
E-rupee. Good. Yeah. I
E-rupee.
haven't I haven't looked into it into detail, but honestly, we've got UPI. So होगा
Hmm.
इसका use case मेरे को पता नहीं है, but I'm
Hmm.
absolutely happy with UPI. So
Yeah. I am
Hmm.
also. Yeah.
I don't know what e-rupee is going to do for me, but yeah, let's see where this goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Meghnath,
So
how did you
And
I'm
get? How did you
sorry.
end up buying? Okay, yeah, please go ahead. No, no.
I just
What about?
ended my thing by saying that I accept, yes, that maybe there needs to be somebody who actually puts some controls on central banks so that there's trust in the system. Now, who is that
hmm.
person? I don't know. So crypto's got a very great thought process and concept. Execution, I don't know. Antariksh,
Hmm.
sorry.
Yeah, Meghnad, how did you end up buying into FTX and SBF?
I didn't buy
Bankman
FTX.
Fried.
I didn't get into
Oh,
FTX.
you didn't. I thought you
I
said.
went into
Okay.
Binance though. So I mean,
Okay.
like I
Okay.
used Binance to buy some crypto, etc. And
Okay. Okay. Okay.
essentially, the reason why I lost money is because the entire crypto market crashed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
like anybody who was invested in any kind on cryptocurrencies basically lost their
Yeah, yeah.
money,
I took out my
including
money
Bitcoin.
very early only, like last year only. I took out all my money from crypto. I'm like, oh, this is not
Oh,
going
but
anywhere.
you trust
Good for
crypto,
you.
Antariksh?
Yeah. I
Do
didn't.
you
I got
trust
into the
it?
hype. No, I got into the hype. I put in like the most I made was I put in 30K, and I made up to like 73K from that
Hmm,
30K. So like
hmm,
sorry, the 43K is what I earned
hmm,
basically.
hmm.
Got from that.
It's a good number.
No,
Yeah,
that's
it's
decent
decent. It's
returns.
quite decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and within like what 3 months or something, I was able to do this, which was insane to me.
Hmm,
But then it started going down. I'm like, my friend was telling me, "Oh, I think a crash is coming" or something like that. So I got
hmm.
scared again. Like, again, got into the hype. I was like, "Okay, I'll just take out my money now before this crashes even further." And I was right. Well, it worked out.
Yeah.
Thoda.
But so Anupam, any concluding thoughts about money? And also one just general question for you is, if someone has to invest in something today, what should it be?
Okay, so sorry to sound like a cliche, but invest in yourself, I think, is the best investment. But once that is done, uh, so Saurabh Mukherjee and me had written this book called The Victory Project. So it had a lot of influence on my life and the way that I think. And
Hmm,
when I've had a lot of people talking about money and whatever's happened in the last few years, I feel that money is an outcome of your efforts. So money is
hmm,
supposed to make your life easy.
hmm,
Hmm.
When you focus on doing what you love and you become really good at it, okay, India is now broadly a place where the market will pay you for that.
hmm,
Okay, so first
hmm,
let's establish that construct.
hmm,
People talk
hmm,
about a lot of doing your passion and doing your this and doing your that. Thankfully, the year is 2022, it'll be 2023. We've moved to a place where there is room in India to do what you love. Nobody's put a gun on your head and saying that you have to do science, you have to do commerce, you have to do doctor. नहीं यार अभी थोड़ा बहुत है. What
hmm,
people
hmm,
underestimate is the hard work required to be brilliant at what you do. Okay. So let's assume that you climb that bridge and you actually put in the effort and you're really, really good at what you do. Now look at that life for a minute. You wake up every day doing what you love. You
hmm.
wake up every day working hard at improving, at bettering what you do, and you become one of the
Yeah.
best at it. Believe me, the market will pay you for it. Okay.
Hmm.
मतलब यहाँ
Hmm.
तो people who have chicken legs also get following on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you really want to focus on something, whatever your profession is, whatever your business is, it's a good place to be in.
Hmm.
So first, I want to kind of put that in a box out there. If you believe
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
that construct, then I come to the part of the result of your effort. Now the
Hmm.
conversation that happening is puts this money here. I'm like, yeah,
Hmm.
why do you want to do that? You're someone who works 8 hours, 12 hours, 18 hours a day. Who tells you to watch CNBC every day? Why this need to
Yeah.
rush after the next 10 bagger, running after
Hmm.
crypto, running after X, Y, Z every day? अरे इसका क्या हुआ? इसका क्या लगता है? Instead, why don't you just do what you love, enjoy it, become better at it? If you're really good, the next job will give you 25% higher. Okay, so
Hmm.
now look at money. Now,
Hmm.
money should be something where you just solve the basics and enjoy your life. That is my philosophy.
Interesting. Oh, I
Okay.
love this. I love
Yeah.
this, Anupam, because
Yeah.
this whole
Yeah.
investment thing is so scary,
Yeah.
right? And
So,
I've always thought it's scary. Antariksh, do you agree? Like,
Oh
when
man,
people are saying,
absolutely. My my
yeah,
my dad and my brother keep trying to make me understand how this all this works, and
hmm,
no,
literally
yeah,
I'll be
I
staring into
guess,
their faces, but I'll be
yeah.
thinking of something else, because it's
So,
finance talk.
the way that I see it is, you just you do a one-time effort and then just
Hmm.
chill out there. And that one-time effort
That's
is
yeah.
this.
hmm,
First,
Hmm.
like I said, get the basics sorted. Do you have health
Hmm.
hmm,
insurance? Okay.
Hmm.
First, get a very good, solid health insurance for yourself over and above what the company gives you. Okay.
hmm,
Hmm.
That might require some research, but honestly, there also there's enough independent, unbiased advice to help you to get a very basic policy, especially if you're young, 25, 30, 35. Have a health insurance policy and keep paying the premium for the rest of your life. Okay, that's
hmm,
done. Now that's under one bracket. Now let's look at life insurance. Okay, just
Hmm.
take what's called term insurance. If you're someone who earns 3 lakhs a year, take a 10 lakh policy or whatever the number is. You can easily figure that out also. वो भी हो गया. Okay. After that, what's left? You do a PPF, okay, which is a voluntary provident fund. Keep on putting money there as per whatever you can put. 10,000 a month, 20,000 a month. वो भी हो गया. And now what's left? What's called investments. Now, see, if you're not someone who has the enthu or the drive or the inclination to do that, I want the best stock. Just pick up
Yeah.
3 index funds, okay, Nifty ho gaya or whatever it is,
Hmm.
pick up 2 or 3 flexi cap funds and pick up 2 or 3 mid cap funds. You don't
Hmm.
even need 2 or 3. Even if you do one, I have a one thing for my kids. My kids' education fund is
Hmm.
3 mutual funds and that's it. And I have not looked at the
अच्छा.
value for the longest time. मेरे को
Hmm.
फर्क नहीं पड़ता है यार. I don't want to look at it.
Hmm.
I just look at it maybe once in a year, maybe just to see that
Hmm.
it's not widely gone off track.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So invest in these basic things and just start off. People kind of
Hmm.
think that you need to get everything right on day one. No, you do
Hmm.
not need to get everything right on day one. Okay. You're young. You can always recover your mistakes. Even if you've goofed up
Hmm.
on your first shot, review your plan every 3 months, every 6 months. You're sorted. And please go live your
I
life. Just wake up in the morning,
Yeah.
go for your morning walk, exercise, have a good time, breathe some air, go to your work on time,
Hmm.
slog,
Hmm.
let
Yeah.
your boss appreciate your efforts, be good at it. When you're done with your day, have your coffee, chill out, go enjoy with your friends, have a beer. What else is life here? Listen to music
Yeah.
and just, why should it be, all this? Yeah, your money will sort itself out. Yeah, your life is more
Yeah.
important, always, always.
My advice would stop at like where you said like the PPF part, no? I mean I put money in NPS, like so वही खत्म हो गया मेरा फिर वहां पे इन्वेस्टमेंट.
Yeah,
उसके बाद
yeah,
मैं म्यूचुअल फंड वगैरह में डालता ही नहीं हूँ, सीधा एफडी.
yeah,
आई
yeah.
बिलीव इन एफडीज, स्क्रू इट.
I believe in
कितना
FD.
भी
Yeah.
कम इंटरेस्ट
I
रेट
believe
आए
in
कब
FD.
आएगा,
Yeah,
आई एम
yeah,
जस्ट
yeah.
लाइक
I
डल.
believe in FD. As long
Yeah.
as and this is not just about money, as long as you can get detached from judgment. I think that's one
Yeah.
thing that has helped me a lot because I hear
Hmm.
so many conversations, so many voices on Paisa Vaisa over the last
Yes.
6 years. People saying
Yes.
that FD is torch, FD is wrong. वो झंडा लेके खड़ा. ये भाई उसका पैसा है उसको करने देना जो कर रहा है.
हाँ.
If
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
FD is the only financial product in India which gives you a guaranteed return on capital, return off capital. Okay.
Yeah.
And is 24 by 7 liquid. You please
Yeah.
tell me one financial product that does that and you take my money. No debt
Correct.
mutual fund. Arey, what debt mutual fund? By do you know what is a debt mutual fund? It is a
Hmm.
mutual fund. Uska
Yeah.
purpose hai. Yes, of course, it solves a certain purpose. But if someone doesn't want to take that kind of risk, he wants to just know that my money is with a very, very large bank. Okay, that's the other thing about FDs. Please do it
Yeah.
only in the largest possible banks in India. Do not go for smaller ones.
Hmm.
It solves its purpose here. All the guy wants is that he knows 24 by 7, he can just press a button, that money will come out. And if
Yeah.
he doesn't press a button, then after 3 months, that money is going to come out anyway. And
Hmm.
he knows how much is going to come out.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's happy with that.
Hmm.
100 का 108 हुआ, he's happy with it, तो हो गया ना. You tell him no, 112 आएगा तुम्हारा. भाई गारंटी किसने लिया मेरे को बताओ ना.
Hmm.
नहीं,
Hmm.
99% चांस है. 100% चांस है.
Hmm.
So that's how I see FDs. There is a very strong use case for it. I invest in them. There is also a very strong and very compelling case for debt mutual funds, provided you have the patience, time, inclination to sit and understand how debt mutual funds work, and you
Hmm.
want to make that extra effort of earning 1%, 2%, 3% more. If you have that into, please go ahead and do it. The investment world today has a
Hmm.
lot of options for everybody.
And the funny thing is, Antariksh, यहाँ पे ना, essentially I was in this phase where some people who are like big investors, like like बहुत पैसा कमाते. एक तो वो है कि बहुत पैसा कमाते भी है, तो
Yeah.
उनको और पैसा चाहिए उसके
Hmm.
ऊपर, so investment
Correct.
कहाँ करना है, all that. Some of my friends, they started giving advice कि hey,
Hmm.
FD में पैसा डाल रहा है, what is this? It's the same shaming कि FD में क्यों पैसा डाल रहे हो, sort of a thing. Then I actually did what Anupam said. I read up on a few things, mutual funds and debt mutual funds, and even crypto is when I और पढ़ा उस पे और ये किया.
Hmm.
After doing all of this, I realized this is garbage. I am not putting my money into the market, not a single penny, except ये government डाल रहा है मेरे behalf पे NPS whatever कर रहे हैं वो करने दो, because the government will save me at the end of the day, because उनके पास infinite पैसा है, so why shouldn't I take advantage of that? And the bank that I'm making my FD in is also the one of the biggest banks. उनको थोड़ी डूबने देने वाले हैं, so my पैसा is safe, like whether or not कुछ और market में घपला हो गया इधर उधर हो गया, that's great.
Absolutely.
So the logic there for me was I shouldn't panic. Like मेरा पैसा कहीं तो भी पड़ा हुआ है and it's okay, it's safe. थोड़ा बहुत पैसा आ रहा है उसमें से, आता रहेगा, but like ultimately जो पैसा मैंने डाला है वो तो मुझे वापस मिलने वाला है. That's it. That's my baseline now.
So that was one of the reasons why I started this series called Advisor Perspectives on my podcast. I'm sorry to be plugging it in, but I really
Yeah,
feel
go
that,
on, go on.
it's the last Monday of every month I spend time, like almost half an hour, 1 hour with an advisor, just talking about this relationship with money, financial planning, financial goals, mistakes that people make, and what they should do. Khatam hai. And I feel that
Yeah.
if someone were to ask me that, okay, give me a bunch of your best Paisa Paisa episodes, and my first question would be, it depends what are you looking for. So if someone would say that I want to figure my financial planning, I want to understand how this whole stuff works, just last Monday of every month, just listen to those episodes and you're sorted. I can't think of anything. These are people who are veterans. They've been doing financial planning for like 20 years, yeah, and I can vouch for them, the reputation that they carry, because they are advisors. They are not pushing a product to you. They're not an insurance agent. These people take fees for their advice. Okay. So whether you may or may not agree with the products that they recommend, but ज्ञान तो तुमको मिलेगा बॉस, उतना तो मैं लिख के
Yeah.
गारंटी तुमको देता हूँ. You might choose to still go your own way, but stuff like rent or buy a house, which is again a hot topic. This FD versus mutual fund. These people have got like years of experience. Just listen to those episodes, and honestly, you're sorted. Yeah. And again, I just have that principle, that philosophy in my life, that money is an outcome. It's not the destination. It is supposed to make your destination very peaceful in life. Okay. And
Right.
in general, I'm sorry to be sounding very basic, but more money is usually better than less money. And people need to accept that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
In general,
Definitely.
for most of your life, having more money is a better place to be than having less money.
Less
I think,
money.
so if
Yeah.
you just follow that, I think you should be sorted.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this, Anupam, and thank you, Antariksh.
Thank you for having us, man. Thank you so much. This is very
Yeah.
fun.
And
Thanks,
I hope
Meghnad.
both of you really enjoyed this. Antariksh, I hope
Absolutely.
your relationship with money changes a little
Man,
bit.
I have written down so much. All the last in the last 5 minutes, Anupama said कि ये लो, health insurance लो, life insurance लो, PPF करो. I've written it all down.
Don't
I've
worry,
got
yaar.
the first thing.
Whenever I'm in the studio, please, I'm more than happy to talk about this, because I'm a strong believer in
Oh,
whatever I said.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, and all of us are doing, of course, any which way. Kya farak padta
Yes.
hai?
Yeah.
Let's enjoy ourselves, and hopefully our
Absolutely.
listeners, your listeners, Meghnad, will have
Yeah.
learned something good. And if I'm more than happy to reach out. If anybody wants any questions, reach out to me or IVM or whoever it is.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Also,
Please.
please listen to Paisa Vaisa. Paisa Vaisa now has a premium feature called Club
Yeah.
Paisa Vaisa. So it is already up. We will leave a link in the description. What essentially it means is, for 700 rupees a year, you can go to Club Paisa Vaisa and you get special episodes. You get premium content, and some of it which I will be working on with Anupam as well. To do like simple explainers, to do like more
There's a
interesting things.
lot coming. There's a lot coming. A lot of
Lots
stuff
coming.
for fans also. We hope to get fans on
Yes.
board and get some inputs from them. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Because there are so many people who are Anupam Gupta fans like me. I know
Thank you,
him
thank
as
you, thank you.
B50 from Twitter for
Yeah.
donkey's years.
Yeah, how about that?
Legend of Twitter.
Oh,
So...
no, come on, man. That's become a liability these days now, Meghnad.
But anywhere else, Anupam, people want to follow you or whatever you want to plug?
Well, I think my first book was The Wisest Owl. That's out on Amazon, and I have conversation with the same people there in that book. I know that nobody reads books these days, but people who still read books, please. I don't want to promote it, but it's there. A lot of hard work has gone into it, and I think there's a lot of good advice and a good lot of recommendations out there for people to manage their money. So that is the book and the podcast, Meghna. Those are the two places where
Hmm.
I'm always at. Where I'm always at. I'm
Yeah.
like I said, I'm working on my second book. But there's Pesa Vesa, there's Twitter, LinkedIn, everything. I'm always there somewhere or the other here.
Right. Antariksh, where can people follow you and what do you want to plug?
Firstly, please go check out my new game show, Just a Filmy Game Show. 4 episodes are out. Fifth episode. Oh no, 5 episodes are out. So please just go check that out wherever you listen to podcasts. Spotify would be the next place. And follow me on Instagram. Come for my live shows, stand up. Just go support stand up in general. That's it. Thanks
Oh
a lot,
yeah,
guys.
please guys, yeah, please support stand up in general. Right? That's wonderful.
Yes,
Everybody needs to do that. Good lord. I mean,
absolutely.
this
Yeah,
freedom of expression is like the most basic damn thing on this planet, and
Yeah.
absolutely.
don't get me started on that. So totally plus one to that. Yeah,
Thank you,
please
buddy.
support stand up. Please do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Next time we get Anupam, we will be basically talking about pop culture and movies. Like
I'll make sure of that.
we will do like a special episode which is with Anupam Gupta part 2 on something random.
I just believe.
And like
I just want to
yeah.
believe. Yeah.
Yeah,
And Anupam, you should go on his show also at some point. That will be
definitely,
Yeah,
fun.
no, yeah,
definitely,
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
get it on. Yeah, yeah, we got
We
it.
we
Yeah.
shall,
Yes,
we'll
yes.
put that as a work in progress, but I would love to do that. I would love to be on his
Yeah.
show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Anupam. Thank you so much, Meghnad. This is very sweet.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening in. And when you are seeing this episode, you must have noticed that the feed name has changed to All About Now. Now, this feed where you get ELI 10 is called All About Now. We have another show called Page 10. Keep following, keep subscribing to All About Now, and I will see you next week.